Good morning. Looking back to the last three games and certainly trying to figure out how we, maximize, our potential, moving forward here and as we finish the season with, the games we have remaining in the conference tournament. I think the biggest thing, I like to look at is what we can control. And that's, the biggest thing is take care of the ball. We look at the three games, it looks like, nearly 75 points off our turnovers in the last three games. And that's either us our execution or us being sped up and making bad decisions. And so that's one of my key concerns moving forward, something cleaning that up, outside of what we've, been worried about from day one is cleaning up possessions and finishing possessions with a rebound and not giving, all these teams second chance points, which Baylor certainly took advantage of us and scored on probably the 9 out of 10 possessions in terms of second chance points. So looking forward to taking on a good Central Florida team and welcoming them to the Coliseum and trying to figure out, how we had a dismal performance down there in Orlando and we're looking forward to having them in our home arena.
Let's go first to Greg Hunter.
So, Josh, you sort of covered this a little bit right there. I mean, when you get this deep into the season, how much really can you improve, and especially in areas that you've been deficient for much of the year?
You show a lot of it's the things that you're consistently not shoring up. There's times we've been very good at taking care of the ball, and there's times we've been sloppy with it. So trying to find the areas that we can, the small areas that we can control. And like I said in the post game press conference, it's not always on the guards. The guards will take a lot of heat sometimes for taking care of the ball, but sometimes it's our effort and our cuts and our timing in terms of running our offensive sets and getting open. Sometimes that can be to blame as well. But we certainly need to value the basketball better and work for that absolute best shot. These live ball turnovers in the last three games has certainly, killed us. So, like you said, these are quick turnarounds, so 1-2 day preps in a lot of situations. So you got to figure out what you can, especially in a situation you play a team twice. What is the biggest thing that, is going to, move the needle in terms of, being successful from the last time you played them.
And defensively, sort of the same thing, though. What is it that you think that, is there a pattern you can find that can help you guys get better there?
Yeah, I mean, finishing possessions is the biggest one. I had our data people, our analytics people break down and show them the difference of, if we're setting our half court defense and what our teams are shooting or our opponents are shooting field goal percentage wise, if they don't get a second chance point. Or we have a set defense and they're not coming downhill, off a live ball turnover, off a turnover in general. And those net numbers are staggering. And that's just us trying to control the game and the way we can control it. And that's one, taking care of the ball, which I keep telling these guys, we have to control the game with our offense. And one of that, just getting a really good shot, or two, getting our defense set because, we executed really well and we didn't turn it over. And then the other side of the coin is just finishing possessions with a rebound. So if first opportunity against a set defense, our field goal percentage defense is pretty good. And that's where we got to get to where we're, our defense is not putting up a terrible position and then we're checking out and finishing possessions.
Let's go to John.
You mentioned in your remarks about just the disappointing performance down at Central Florida. What was it that really bothered you with the way you played down there?
Their physicality. Physicality was that, we didn't match that physicality. We didn't handle it well. We didn't turn the ball over all that many times, if I remember right, by the numbers. Take a look at it here, but what was it? We had 11 turnovers down there, which isn't a crazy, you want to keep that under single digits. But I think more than anything, their pressure sped us up, and we bailed on a lot of our actions, and we didn't certainly execute, to the standard that we need to execute to be successful. and you know, the pressure bothered us. They sped us up, and we kind of put our head down and drove it. And when in reality we should just move the ball and kept the ball moving and kept, you know, making that extra pass instead of, you know, feeling that pressure and just trying to fight it well, with a dribble.
One more here real quick on Central Florida. They've only won once since you guys played them. What have you seen from them of late, particularly in this 3-game losing streak?
You know, they're going through the same thing, you know, that we're going through, trying to grind out wins. And you know, the big game that I point to is that BYU game. You know, they go to BYU and you know, they put an enormous amount of points on the board there late, and they got to the free throw line, I believe, 42 times. And so, you know, they didn't shoot it all that well until late in the game, which they made some, you know, tough shots there late in the game, but they're fighting, they're clawing, they're doing everything they can to be successful in this league. And we're kind of in the same boat trying to figure that out.
Justin.
Hey, Coach. Good morning. How are you?
Morning, Justin. How are you?
I'm fine. Hey, that first game against UCF, I think it was like 38% you guys shot. Josiah came off the bench and was the only guy in double figures, I believe. I might be wrong on that. But now you're coming off a game in which, you know, Raekwon gets more than 20, Jesse gets more than 20. Kind of the first game where they've been able to kind of go off at the same time. What can you take from that moving forward as far as, you know, how much differently offensively you guys can be as compared to the first time you guys played GCF?
Well, Jesse didn't play in the first game.
Right.
So we'll be playing them with our full roster and playing at home. So that certainly should help, and it should help from the rebounding perspective, should help from the physicality perspective in which they play. Yeah, I mean, more than anything, you look back at all our sets and our execution, it might have been one of the worst executed offensive production we ever had. You know, like I said, you know, the pressure bothered us. Their pressure bothered us and got us sped up. So we need to clean up what we can clean up, and it can't be, you know, us against us. It's got to be us against them. You know, and sometimes in that game, it felt like we were disjointed in a lot of ways, and we weren't on the same page. And that was a credit to, you know, how they were playing us defensively. And so our mindset's got to be different going into this game, and understand that, you know, we're not gonna drive it into those. You know, Diallo is one of the best shot blockers in the league, and we need to drive and kick rather than drive and try to go up through these guys.
In terms of that Raekwon Jesse combo there, their output against Baylor, can you move forward with that, thinking, okay, we could get some consistency there, and now we got to find that third guy? Or was the Baylor game maybe just like one of those nights for those two, if that question makes sense? I mean,
No, I think those guys, we need consistency out of, you know, 4 or 5 guys. You know,
right.
we just can't be 2 guys, and we need to be. And like I said about Baylor from day one, I mean, the reason they're so good is they get a consistent offensive production out of, you know, 6 or 7 guys, and you never know which way it's going to, what they're going to hit you with, and who's going to hit you from night in, night out. And you know, we can't be a 1 or 2 sided attack. It's you know, we got to have 4 or 5 different lethal options out there, and we have the guys that are capable of making shots and being a balanced team, and that's where we got to get to.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.
Any other questions for Coach? Go back to Greg.
So Josh, just give me your evaluation on the attitude of this team, especially, you know, when they struggle, if they kept their heads up.
Yeah, there's a couple moments in the game, you know, I remember, you know, there's 24 minutes left in the game. You know, we're 4 minutes left to go before halftime, and I had a lot of guys looking down. I said, "What are we doing?" You know, and there's a few moments in there you just kind of got to check them, like, and they respond well. It's just, you know, we went through a lot of struggles this year, trying to keep everybody's head up and focused, and for the most part, they've been that way, and they've reacted and competed and been resilient. But we got to do a better job managing some certain points in the game. And like I told them, I look back at all the conference games. We had a long discussion yesterday. Look back at it, and the way we're starting the second half is critical to our success, and we got to be better coming out of halftime. The three wins we got in league, we won that first 4 minutes or tied it, at least tied it. The other, what are the eight games, we've had in conference play, the opponents won that first 4 minutes. So the way we're ending the first half and the way we're beginning the second half is going to be critical to our success. And we look back at the TCU game, how we kind of managed the last, 2 or 3 minutes of the first half, and the BYU game, and how that kind of went from a 2 or 3 point game to a double digits deficit going into half is critically important. So that's something we've stressed highly in the last day or so, and trying to figure out how we keep everybody's head on straight, and we continue to fight and compete and try to get us another win here on Tuesday.
Greg Carey.
Yeah, Josh, what is Seth's status? Will he be available tomorrow?
I don't think, no, Seth's not going to be here for tomorrow's game. Looking at the services here today, and he's still nursing that groin injury as well. So I'm not trying to rush him back by any means. And they had the viewing yesterday, and Coach McCabe and Kyle Kiesler headed up there to spend some time with him, and so it's a sad situation for him and his family, and we'll see him coming up this weekend, but I don't anticipate having him here tomorrow.
Any other questions for Coach? Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all.